Welcome back, folks, to Me Feel Too Real. You're watching part 4 of the... I almost said Mega Man X again. This is like the third time I've tried recording this. The Final Fantasy VIII Let's Play. I'm totally leaving that there. So, where we last left off getting Diablos, getting some pretty rare cards, especially Cypher's card, Zell's card. Actually, no, we got Zell's card on the second part, not the third part. But we gotten some pretty rare cards, because we also got Diablos' card when we beat him. And so we're gonna get some spell. Well, I should say a spell from the pier there. We only got one cure spell for Squall. We're gonna go back to the main area now. We're gonna talk to Hologram Zell's mom, because his visual mods for whatever reason kind of mess around with some of the models. And one of them, much later in the game, you're gonna see one of the characters look like a jumbled mess. But Ma. So Ma's going to ask Zell what she's doing, and he says an outdoor class, not trying to save Timber from the almighty Galbadian army. So, you can buy some items here from the gift shop. However, if you do buy items, make sure you at least have 3,000 gil. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for your salary to come in, which is not going to take forever. Or you can sell some items that you don't need any longer, because you're going to need 3,000 gil to buy the ticket from right here. So you buy it, you go in, and if you didn't get the issue of Timer Maniacs that was in the end, you'll find one right here. So we're going to go inside the train, and we're going to advance the plot, and notice that we're going to go inside a tunnel. Bear that in mind. So whee, inside the tunnel we go. And the group is gonna be inside the train, and Zell's like, this train's awesome. It's a transcontinental railway, baby. It even runs through an underwater tunnel to get through Timber. And Squall's like, sure is. I guess you're not interested. Yeah, I don't think Squall's very interested, Zell. And Zell makes a comment that we have to use a card, our ticket, to get inside the main area of the train to get to our cabin. And an interesting thing about Sophie is she is absolutely in love with trains. And absolutely another thing too is, remember, we're inside of a tunnel. We haven't came outside the tunnel yet. So if you go in this next section, you're going to see light poles, electric poles, whatever you want to call them, on the side. We're not outside. It's bright. It's not dark like a tunnel. Anywho, you know, I've never been inside of a tunnel in my entire life, so I don't know. There might be lights that make it this bright, but I kind of doubt it. But Selphie is in love with trains, so every time you talk to Selphie inside of a train, except for one of the, well, I mean, there's only 3 train rides, but all but one, she'll be singing about trains. Zell is such a happy camper. He got a comfy sofa, his own cabin. So happy. He's going to give us a magazine, Pet Pals Volume 1. And we'll talk about that magazine later. We can't use it because we don't have... Well, you can use it, but we don't have the character that uses it yet. So Zell's going to ask Squall about if we know anything about Timber. We're going to say we don't know too much. And Zell's going to talk about how Timber used to be a country, and then Galbadia invaded, it fell, and it's now occupied. And because of that occupation, there's a lot of resistance cells, big and small, inside of Timber. And that's all there is to it. And Squall gives him a new nickname. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All, Zell. Hey, no problem. I actually like that name. It's one of the nicest things you ever said to me, Squall. And Selphie is not feeling too well. Probably from the rocking, I imagine. And Squall's like, you're probably tired. Go take a nap. She's like, I'm really sleepy. Even Zell's so sleepy. This train ride is just a big snore fest. And then Squall is like, hey, what's going on? Oh, headache. Need Tylenol. Oh. And they're all dead, folks. That's the end of our Final Fantasy VIII Let's Play. So I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Later in. Bye. Bye. So we're going to be in one of the quite a few dream sequences in Final Fantasy VIII. And in these dream sequences, we're going to be controlling Laguna, Ward, and Kyros. And speaking of Laguna, Ward, and Kyros, they each have their own unique weapons. Laguna has a machine gun, Ward has a harpoon, and Kiros has these nifty knife blade things he wields. And the music that's playing here, the man with the machine gun, absolutely fantastic track, one of my favorites. But this is a Fungar, and Fungars are really easy enemies. I killed it so quickly they didn't really get to do very much, but it attacks with status magic most of the time. And some of the interesting magic that you can draw from it. At low level, I think all it has is sleep. At the higher levels, it has confuse magic. Those are the main spells you should be concerned with. Confuse is very nice for when you want to go more Malboro hunting, because they confuse you pretty easy, but we'll talk about more Boros later. But in this fight, we're going to be introduced to a Gizzard, which is a super easy enemy. They die really easily. They have Thunder and Cure magic at low levels, and at high levels they have Thundara and Cura magic. And they also have nice items to collect for upgrading your weapons. Screws, like that thing carries screws. I don't know what the heck that scorpion looking thing has screws for. But anyways, the screws, you're going to need them for upgrading Squall's weapon. I believe Irvin, when we get Irving. And I think that's it. I don't think any other weapons need screws, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, Future Phil can put a notation or something like that on the screen for us. And so, Kiros, Ward, and Laguna, they're soldiers of Galbadia, as you can notice. So we're playing as the bad guys. That's kind of cool. And in these dream sequences, whatever junctions that Squall and his party has are going to go to Laguna, Kiros, and Ward. In this case, Squall will always be linked to Laguna. Ward and Kiros will change depending on the characters who experience the dream sequences, but in this case, I believe Zell is Kiros, Selfie is Ward. And my goodness, Ward and that giant harpoon. So, and there's some screws, so that's very nice. So we need those to upgrade our weapons. And right now, where we are with Laguna is we're actually witnessing the Timber War through Laguna's eyes. Or at least we're supposed to be, because they're going to make a comment that they're supposed to be fighting the almighty Timber Army, not some animals, and Laguna got them lost again, as Kira said. So, kind of ongoing gout Laguna that he gets lost. And even in the back story of Final Fantasy, he gets lost quite a bit. And we need to get to that truck so we can go ahead and go to Delin City, which is the hometown of Laguna, Ward, and Kiros, presumably. And Laguna cannot park to save his life, because as we enter Delin City, he's just going to park smack dab in the middle of the road like a straight gangsta. Like, I give no cares. You can't park in the middle of the street. Hey, chill, man. Hey, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Alright then, how about a drink? And Kiros and Ward know that Laguna probably doesn't drink. And as Ward says, you just drink some juice like a weenie, and then you gawk at the piano lady. And Laguna takes some offense to that. So I imagine he's a pretty big fanboy of this mysterious piano lady. And one thing about Delin City and Laguna's excursion here is you're railroaded to go this way only. You can't explore Delin City because there's guards, there's soldiers I should say. Well, I mean they're guarding the roads, and they're blocking the roads with their vehicles. So we can only go one way. So we're going to go into the hotel because that is where we're supposed to go to advance plot. And you can stay in the inn, but there's absolutely no point because you're not going to fight any more enemies here as Laguna. Once we finish at the hotel, we are done with this sequence. So go down here, and then we will talk to the receptionist. If you pick the middle choice, you advance plot. If you pick the bottom choice, you'll get a little bit of... I think of the word I want to say, but Laguna senses Squall and Co. looking through his memories or looking through the sequence. He can sense it, but he can't explain it. Later sequences, he explains it as fairies. But you pick the middle choice, we'll advance the plot. The boys, as I'm going to call them, are going to have themselves a nice drink together as a team, because you know they finished their mission and they totally did not get lost. And Laguna's like, we're going all out tonight, right, boys? And Laguna's going to order the usual. Kiros is going to agree, and Ward's like, just keep them coming because I want the same thing. And this magnificent lady here in the red dress is Julia. And as you can tell, Laguna has a crush on Julia. And Kiros and Ward are going to poke at him to at least go wave. And Laguna apparently said this is going to be the night that he's going to at least wave at Julia. And Laguna absolutely is shy or nervous, like a middle school or high school person trying to get the attention of their crush. So we're going to go up there, and Laguna's going to back out like a weenie, as Ward likes to call him. And as Laguna goes up here, he's going to make some comments internally to himself. And Laguna monologues a lot in this part. And whenever Laguna kind of gets in a tense or stressful situation, his leg cramps. Kind of an ongoing gag with his sequence. And he kind of limps away, defeated. And I don't get that. Did he just literally shake his butt at Julia? I've never really realized that until now. I'm normally reading the dialogue. But he decides to try it one more time, circling back around. Scratches his head. I don't see that as a wave, but I guess he nodded at her. And then he limps back to the boys. So we'll go back to the table. And then Kiros and Ward are going to be like, hey, good job. Mission successful. And they didn't think that he was going to do it. And Kiros is like, yeah, you're about -3 on the manliness scale. Just totally tearing poor Laguna apart. And Laguna actually is one of my favorite characters in this game. He's just a dork. I love him. And the boys are gonna go ahead and leave Laguna for some reason. And Ward's like, hey, don't worry about it. It's on us tonight. Just relax, bro. Ward's totally Laguna's wingman. And so Julia is right here, right behind Laguna. And Laguna's like, ah! And still limping. And Julia just happened to notice our amazing hero Laguna. And he's like, please sit down. I'm totally not a fan of yours. And it seems that without Kiros and Ward, he's totally hitting the panic mode button. And Julia doesn't seem to mind for some reason. And Julia even noticed his leg. Like, this leg? Yeah, it's fine. It happens all the time when I get nervous. And Julia, being the sweet, awesome lady that she is, tells him that he doesn't need to get nervous around her. Absolutely not. She's an amazing woman. She's also a pretty important woman in the backstory of Final Fantasy VIII, and she wants to talk with Laguna in her room. Oh my. I know where this is going. So, we're gonna have to go to Julia's room and talk, and yeah. And of course, Laguna, being the innocent fanboy he is, doesn't think anything about it. So, we're gonna go to our room. We're gonna have an innocent little chat, I imagine. Nothing explicit is gonna happen. And Laguna's a little bit in denial, but he's like, I gotta man up. I gotta talk to Julia. Just the two of us get together, Laguna. And he's gonna say he's all ears for Julia. He's not gonna talk very much. And he's gonna help Julia with her problem. And the soldiers down here are very, very, very jealous about Laguna and his little one-on-one time with Julia. And Kiros and Ward are going to be like, man, can you even do this, man? You talk like a mile a minute. You don't listen. You just yap, 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 as Kiros says here. So once that's done, you don't really have to talk to none of those people. But it's very nice and to know a little bit of dialogue about Laguna's character, or story about Laguna's character. So we're going to go into Julia's room. Knock, knock. It's Laguna. So here, Julia is going to talk about, well, we don't really hear very much about what Julia wants to talk about until the very end, because Laguna is going to act super nervous, doesn't know where to sit. She says, have a seat. And he's like, I'm going to sit all the way in the back. Very nervously, very creepily. And then we're going to have to walk all the way back to Julia. Now, one thing about this sequence is that if you read the issue of Timer Maniacs in Balam Hotel, the scene changes a little bit here. If you don't read it, then the scene, I presume, continues as if Laguna just did not get drunk off wine and pass out. But in this area, if you do read that issue of Timer Maniacs in the hotel, Laguna will pass out. And Julia is, of course, telling Laguna that he has beautiful eyes and he doesn't want to eat them, he just wants to gaze while talking to him. And she offers him wine, which is kind of bad because Laguna is probably a lightweight since he drinks juice, as Ward said, because he's a weenie. But Laguna is here talking about how he doesn't like to fight, he just wants to travel and be a wandering journalist and just talk about the world. And Julia probably really thinks that's cool because she's just listening. And even though people seem to be annoyed with Laguna just talking and yammering about yap, Julia just happens to just love listening to this man talk for whatever reason. I guess she just really digs him. And she didn't know that wine made him sleepy. So so right here we're gonna get a very important dialogue here, because the reason why Julia wanted to invite Laguna was that Laguna wants to know more about her dreams, about her life, what she dreams about, what she wants to do. And Julia says that she wants to sing, not just to only play the piano, but to sing too. But she's not good at writing lyrics, so that's a bit of a problem, unless you hire a songwriter, I guess. But thanks to Laguna, she's found the motivation to make a song. And she kind of says the lyrics right here. So thanks to Laguna, she has the motivation to be a songwriter and a singer, and that's awesome. And the moment is building right here, and it's kind of implied that Julia is also is digging Laguna just as much as Laguna is digging her, and their moment is going to be ruined, unfortunately. And Laguna has to go back on deployment. That's not cool. And this, unfortunately, is probably going to be the last time they're going to talk. And with that, the dream ends, and we're back with Squall and company. And they absolutely don't know what happened. They're going to talk about the dream, but Sophie's going to be the first one to talk about it. Squall just thinks they were asleep. It was some kind of attack on them because a lot of people probably hate Seed, as Zell said. And Squall's like, well, maybe we should be careful. And Sophie's like, did we get robbed? Are we missing anything? And Squall's like, I don't think so. I have all my stuff. And the whole group's going to talk about the experience, how it was weird. Sophie's going to be the first one that says that she had such a nice dream. And then Squall's like, I had a terrible dream. I was an idiot. And Zell, thank you, train bell. That actually was pretty loud. So Sophie's going to like, Sir Laguna was so cool. And Zell and Squall are like, wait, what? Zell's like, he was also in my dream. He was a Galbadian soldier. And Squall's like, and there was Kiros and Ward. So all three of them had the same mysterious dream. Pretty unusual. The odds of that happening are astronomical, I can imagine. But Squall's going to be like, we're going to put this incident on hold, and we got focus on the mission. But he'll talk to Headmaster Sid about it, which will never happen. He'll never talk to Sid about it. So, be interesting if he did. I wonder how the plot would change if that happened. But the train ride's already done, and we're about to be in Timber. Notice that we're coming out of a tunnel. So what the heck? Who were those light poles earlier? I'm so hung up on that more than the whole dream sequence. So we arrive in Timber, and since we arrived in Timber, we have to remember that there is going to be a messenger from the Forest Owls here that's going to say a code phrase that we have to answer correctly. But we don't actually have to answer that phrase correctly because the plot's going to advance the way it should regardless. But if you don't answer the plot question correctly, a little bit of a funny sequence happens here, but I'm going to go ahead and answer the question correctly anyways. but the owls are still around is the correct phrase. And the guy's like, welcome to Timber, sir. It's a very, very polite guy. And the map of Timber that I'm going to examine here, I absolutely cannot understand heads or tails of it. But yeah, it looks absolutely crazy. No, absolutely not. Don't understand it. So I play this game I countless times. I still don't understand that map. But the lady here sells little stuff at the souvenir shop. Owl's Tears, she's out. Model trains, they got bought out. Naughty Magazine got bought out. So this lady sells a lot of stuff apparently. Pet shop, we'll come back here after we're done with the mission we're about to do. But continue down here, and then this nice friendly gentleman, Watts, as he will be known to us here in a few minutes, will invite us into their amazing, most badass train here. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go choo-choo along, and we're going to be in with the Forest Owls here now. So the Forest Owls comprise of Zone, Watts, a few people in the train car, and their princess that they'll mention here later. Squall is going to introduce himself. Zone's going to want to shake his hand because he's a squad leader. And notice that Zone is going to shake hands with Selfie, but will not shake hands with Zell. And that's just going to rub Zell the wrong way. And he's going to go to Shadowbox, and I don't know why people pick on Zell. Zell's my boy. Like, Zell's that one person I'm going to go into combat with, and I'm going to be his wingman because he's just an awesome dude. So they're going to ask Squall to go get their princess because they don't want to wake her up, because apparently she's a demon of sorts when she wakes up. You never wake a lady up from her slumber. Let them wake up on their own. But we can't do that because the mission's going to get started and we need her. So these guys in here are just extra members of the Forest Owls. You can talk to them if you want. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Save points there if you want to use it. I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to jump cut to where I'm not using it no more. But I saved because I want to go and challenge Watts to some cards, because Watts actually has a pretty useful card here if you want to break the game once you get the card mod ability. So challenge Watts, and we're going to want to challenge him until we get the Angelo card, which Angelo is the companion of the next character we're going to get there. And since my opening hand is pretty stacked, I say opening hand, you can get one hand per game, but or one hand per normal game. Okay. Pretty stacked. It's pretty hard to lose unless you actually want to lose. So Angelo is a pretty mediocre card. It has good vertical numbers, except the bottom number is a little bit lower than normal. But Angelo's card is very useful because once you get the card mod ability, you can card mod it, and then you'll get 100 elixirs, which is pretty game breaking in my opinion, because it just restores all your HP in one go. I mean, it's not as broken as Bahamut's card, but this is the princess, the amazing, the wonderful Renoa. And this is also the same lady that was at the party with Squall, that danced and got Squall to kind of come out of his shell, his shy shell. And it's pretty interesting that Squall is letting her have her way with him. So you can see that first impression with her at that ball kind of left a good impression on him. And Renoa, we haven't actually got introduced to her because we're going to actually be able to name her, but she was looking for Sid at that party. And the person who actually introduced her to Sid was none other than Cypher. So, and you can see there, Squall gets a little bit defensive when Cypher's brought into the conversation, but Sid was such a nice gentleman that he was like, hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and let you take on this mission. I'll let my seeds take this mission on. I'm only going to give you 3 of them, but they're going to be rookies. And there's a little bit to read in between the lines at the end of the game with this, like looking back in hindsight, but I'm not going to talk about that. But, so, we're going to go ahead and leave and start the mission, right? But Renoa here wants to know if Squall had brought Cypher with them, and Squall's like, nah, he's not a seed. And she's a little bit bummed about that. And then she's going to walk out and run back in, and we're going to be given the option to name this amazing person Renoa, because that's her name in the default Final Fantasy VIII. You name her whatever you want, but her and her companion, I never have really renamed them anything else. I've always renamed Squall Squawk, but that's going to be a thumbnail for that. Ellipses, what's wrong with your dog? But this is another unfortunate thing about using the visual mods here. Angelo, her pet dog, starts to glitch out. She'll start to blink in and out of existence, just like Zell's mom. And so right here, this little explanation is talking about Renoa's first limit break, and I said first limit break. She gets a second type of limit break much later in the game in the third disc. But when you go to status screen and you read Pet Pal volumes, like the one we got in the train, she'll have a new limit break to learn, and some of them aren't necessarily limit breaks. Some of them are kind of like desperation. Trying to think why I explain it. For example, Angelo Recover will heal you if you're at low HP, and then there's another one called Angelo Revive, I think, and that will revive you if you get down by an enemy. And there's another one called Angelo Search, which normally would be a waste of time in my opinion, because it takes so long to do anything with it. But thanks to the remaster, you're given an option to speed it up. Poor Angelo, she gets ignored. But we're gonna go ahead and go to the meeting so we get this war room meeting done, because we brought Renoa in, that's what they wanted, and no one really got their head bit off because they were so afraid of her waking up. So we're gonna get introduced to Renoa, the whole team. I mean, we got introduced to Renoa, but they have not. So we're gonna go into the back room that they opened, and we're gonna discuss how we're going to, or actually, we don't even know what the mission is. We just know, hey, we're supposed to go into this city and then do something with it. But once you read Pet Pal volumes, you just open it and look at it. That new skill is added to her learn list for Angelo. So you just stand wherever you want. This is a full skill operation. Our resistance to force, owls, blah blah blah. I went a little bit too fast, but they're gonna talk about how they're fighting to reclaim their independence, Galbadia, and there's a VIP from Galbadia coming, and it's actually the president of Galbadia. Who's actually really a dictator. He's not really popular in Galbadia according to them, so who knows, he might actually be popular in Galbadia, but he's certainly not popular in Timber. And Selfie says a pretty amazing line there. We're just going to blow up the train with the rocket launcher. But the whole point is we're going to kidnap the president, and we're going to go over it with this model train diorama that Renoa had put together. Pretty detailed. And they're going to explain the whole plan, I believe, in 7 steps. Where basically we're going to jump from our train to the president's train, open up the train in the middle so that way our train can get in by the time they join tracks, and then somehow disconnect the cars and then leave with the president's train while they get stuck with the dummy car that we have. Something to that effect. And I gotta say, this plan really it's a bit crazy in concept, because it's all about timing. Any small step and the trains collide and go boom, I imagine. And that's no bueno. We can't have that. So they're gonna explain that once we couple the cars and we get to this section right here, we have to uncouple the cars, and then we're gonna run away with the president's car with their base. And that's it. If all goes well, we'll be able to steal the president and have our confrontation with him. And it should only take about 5 minutes, they said. 5 or 7 minutes. 5 minutes and 7 steps. So Zell's like, you sure that's enough time? And then according to the simulation, it only took 3 minutes. And Squall's like, I'm not buying that. So this section they're talking about the sensor thing, you don't even have to worry about it. Those sensors are broken, so when we get to that part, you just run right across the train willy-nilly, and you don't have to avoid it. So this whole thing, pretty pointless. But this is the important part, so you might want to pay attention, is how to uncouple the cards, because it's all about an input sequence, and you have a finite amount of time to not only input the codes before it says input wrong, but you also got to worry about guards coming in and, you know, spotting you. And if you get spotted, well, the game is over. Not really. You get multiple chances, but you lose out on a prize for doing it all in one go. So here they're giving us an opportunity to input the code to kind of get used to it. And so you gotta do it 3 times. And some of the codes are gonna be super easy, like that 2222. And you have to do this, you know, consecutively. You can't get one code wrong, otherwise you gotta do it all over again. So, and with Sophie and Zell and everyone's gonna make a comment about how the president's car looks ugly, and that it was actually Renoa that painted it. And she makes the excuse, I did it that way because I hate the president, but she's just probably that bad of an artist like me. I'm not an artist. And for whatever you do not click explain it again, or else you go through that whole sequence again. It's just as annoying as the owl in Legend of Zelda explaining everything over and over again. So we're done with the explanation, and we can begin the operation. And I gotta say, I like the music for these operations. And if you go to the backboard here, you can read a little bit about the President Galbadian, a little bit more about how he's a corrupt man. He has these intercontinental missiles that can strike anywhere in the world. He has a prison built for political prisoners. You know, talk about his regime and all that, because dictators do not like people talking bad about their regimes. That's just that's a no-no in dictatorships, I imagine. Right? Yeah. So once we're done with that board, we're going to go back to here. We're going to talk to Watts. You can save your game if you want. That's what I'm going to do. And because if you complete the mission in one go, well, even before that, we did go back to Renault's room here, examine her bed. It's now folded up, and you get Pet Pal Volume 2, and we save our game, and we're gonna go talk to Watts and start the mission. But before that, I'm gonna read the second volume. We get Angelo Recover for that, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that everyone has their Guardian Forces equipped as well. So make sure you have that. Make sure you have. Well, you're not fighting right now, so don't even worry about that. Scratch that. It's whenever we get done with the mission. So the main dangerous part about this mission is actually going to be the input code part. So you have 5 minutes to complete it. If you complete it in one go without getting caught, your seed rank will go up by 1, which is pretty cool. But just run across. You don't have to worry about the sensors. So pretty cool. You get a little bit more money, but money, as I said, is kind of pointless in Final Fantasy VIII because you don't really use it all that much, other than get potions and beating down defense. But other than that, nothing much. And as you see here, the president is a bit of a mean person to his soldiers, saying, "That's 27 times now. I can't believe anyone would deal with this. Well, I guess it's none of my business. Dismiss." And apparently he decides to take his soldiers' paychecks if they annoy him. So that's a little bit of shame for that guy. But he's working for the wrong team. So right here, this is the code input sequence. So what you want to do is you want to let Zell and Selphie tell you when those guards are approaching. So you can go down, or well, you have to go down. You can't forward that. You have to go down. And you can actually hold the left bumper here to look to the left, but I'm not going to do it in this case because Zell and Selphie are going to tell me what to do here. But make sure you input the codes. I normally do 2 at a time, and then when I get done with the second one, I'll go back up. That way I don't get caught. If you get caught by the guards, the mission fails, but you'll get an option to restart it at this point. So it's not going to be a game over unless you want it to be a game over. So as you see there, the guards will go and check the door. If you're there at the door, they will spot you, it will end. But after you get that, you go back down. When you put the third code, the third code will unlock the coupling system of the trains. And then we get a little bit of a cool FMV here. So go back up, go back to Renoa and your two teammates. And something you can do here, you can actually control Squall and make him look like he's kind of crazy running back and forth on top of your train. So one thing I mentioned about is why those cars do not slow down so much that they don't fall behind. It's almost like the train cars sped up. Oh no, I see what it is. Never mind. My bad. The our train slowed down to let it connect to those, and then we sped up to reconnect with them. I never noticed that. Many times as I play that, I never noticed. I just assume somehow magically the back cars just sped up and connected. But this is the fake president right here, reading a newspaper, and then the way he's making it sound, he's like, "Hey man, I'm super annoyed. Get out of here now. Get out." So that's 2 paychecks for this poor dude, and the Galbadian officer is like, "Hey, what the heck? Is this even the right train?" So they're kind of noticing it, but they don't want to say anything because they don't want to annoy what they think is the president, but totally not the real president. Now we're on our own right here to uncouple these cars where Selfie and Zell are going to do their end. So, excuse me. On our end, what we can do is we can hold down the right bumper to keep the camera kind of square on the guards while we input the codes. So that's something I highly recommend doing because then you're not going to have any warning about the guards coming your way. So what I like to do again is input 2 codes, go back up, and as soon as they're going to check in the door, you can go back down and input your last 3 codes. You have plenty of time to input 3 codes once they check the doors and leave if you drop down as soon as the red guard is done. So let the red guard go and check the window and then drop down, and then you have plenty of time to input those 3 codes. And with that, the mission will be done. So I'll let Squall input those codes, and you gotta wonder, like, how close is Squall to the ground? And it's just zipping right past him. What's to stop a rock from getting picked up and like just hitting Squall and like just knocking him off the train? That's an interesting thought, but luckily that doesn't happen. And we're gonna abandon the ship, and then we're gonna hijack this. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Just have Squall run back and forth on top of the train. So we can leave now. We're awesome. And actually, why did Zell and Selfie need to disconnect the train? I mean, our train car can just disconnect the arm by itself, just by itself. So, like, I don't get that. You know, I don't make the rules. So, a little bit of concern here. Train's like, "See you later, losers." So, since we completed it in one go, we're gonna get a little bit of a rank increase here. So, seed rank went up by 1. So, amazing. That's really the only notification that we ever get in the game that are like outside of seeing our rank go up in the lower right corner. That's the game lets us know, hey, your seed rank went up by 1. Woo woo! So Renault's like, hey, you 3, when you're done preparing, talk to me. We're gonna confront the president. So we're gonna want to make sure our party members have all their stuff in order. You want to make sure that whoever has Ifrit has fire magic equipped to them if you don't want to cheese this boss. You're going to make sure that they have magic, draw an item. I forget to put magic on my team, but it's not such a big deal. So the president and our party are going to talk, and knows like, as long as you cooperate, you won't get hurt. And the president's like, and if I do resist, what are you going to do, young lady? And Squall's like, what's wrong? Boo-hoo, too bad. I'm not the president. I'm what you call a body double. All these rumors about us coming. I'm going too fast. He calls them amateurs, and he's like, my butt is hurting from all this sitting. Young lady. So what did you have in store if I resist? Why don't you tell me? It's amusing for amateurs. How dare you, Mr. President? Why was Sophie ducking? But, so, this boss fight against the fake president, pretty easy, the first form anyways. Notice I said first form. The president has cure magic, fake president, has cure magic in his pull, so you can use that to heal up if you need. I'm going to do that. Because the next boss fight, which I believe his name is Genro, G-E-R-O, so Jero, I believe. And Jero is going to be the second form of the president. And, well, we got to get to that part first, so I'm getting way ahead of the game. Amusing. This is amusing. Yeah, this is pretty amusing that you lasted this long. That's probably because I've been trying to stalk cure magic for whatever reason. So with that, I believe... Nope, he's still standing. Try it one more time, Selfie. Whack him. Nope, still not done. Zelt. No, he's biting me. Ah! But he's not a very hard boss. All he does is bite. And with that, we've destroyed the fake president. He's switching the heck out of here. So he's going to dissolve into a black mass, and from the black mass we're going to get the real boss fight, which is Gero. Anyways, I'll have Future Phil put the spelling up there for you, but Squall's a little bit surprised by this, but this boss here has some pretty good magic to draw. You got Insunia, which is always nice. You have Double, which is super nice, but if you've gotten Double from Elverit, you don't need it. But he also has Zombie magic and Berserk magic. Zombie's not such a good spell to draw, but Berserk is a wonderful spell to draw. For Junctioning for our status defense for later in the game against Malboros. But the boss is a zombie, and it can be killed by curative magic or a Phoenix Down. You can just take it out with the Phoenix Down, as I just did, and boop, it's dead. But if you didn't want to cheese it, you can always use fire magic, fire elemental attacks. It really attacks with status elements that much. It's not a super hard boss. It can slow you down, it can berserk you, and other things, but the boss is not super hard. And we find out here that the president is actually going to be here to make a broadcast at the communication center here. And Squall kind of puts it together that they needed a communication tower in Dalit to transmit their communication through radio signals, because for whatever reason, radio waves across the world just don't work. If you want to have any sort of broadcasting, you need HD cables, and if you want to communicate to outside regions, you need radio waves. So without those radio waves, you can't do it, but the communication tower remedies that problem. And Sophie's like, everybody, love and peace, is what she thinks that the president's going to say, and everyone's not buying it. The radio waves have been out for 17 years, according to the Force Owl, so that's a pretty long time for the world not to be able to communicate through radio. You gotta wonder how telecommunications is. Like, do they literally still send carrier pigeons or something like that? But anyways. So what we're going to do here is, I got the card mod ability, and I'm very happy. I'm going with the song right there. And I'm going to go ahead and get Quasicolt to start learning mid-magic. And mid-magic is you can convert lower spells into mid-tier spells. So you can take, like, for example, 5 fires and convert it to 1 Fyra. And Fyra is a more potent spell than fire. It junctions more nicely. You get more elemental magic defense from fire, and you strengthen your fire attacks, which are elemental junction attack with that as well. I think up to 80%, I believe, if you get 100 fire spells. But Squall and Co want to know what their contract looks like, so Renault is going to give him the first version of the contract. I just yanked it, and it's pretty lawyer jargony, so not something that a person can normally read, but Renoa is going to give us a more reader-friendly version, which is going to irritate the heck out of Squall, Zell, and Sophie. And Sid basically just said, hey, you're going to have these seed members for as long as you need to until you achieve your independence. However, you can't replace them for any sort of reason, and the contract is an exception. And again, if you've beaten the game, it's kind of if you read between the lines, there's a reason why Sid said you can't change these party members. You have these party members, and that's all you need. You can't give any more. I have my own theories on that. That's my own little theory about why Sid kind of does the things he does at the very beginning of the game. Maybe I'll talk about it in a later part, a more dull part. But you're stuck with Renoa. You have to use Renoa's Squall and a third party member, and I'm going to use Zell. And Zell is going to be my third party member with Renoa. Anytime I'm given an option to use Renoa and Zell, I'm going to use Renoa and Zell. They're my favorite party members to use, just for the sake of keeping stuff in a variety in the playthrough. I'm going to change up my party sometimes. So don't worry, if you like some of the other party members, I'll go ahead and do that. But since we have the card mod ability, I'm going to take advantage of the card mod. I'm going to show you what this ability does. Any of your cards, you can convert them into items, and a lot of these items that you get are very, very useful in the event that you want to get more magic. You can card mod some of these items to get items to mod into magic. You can also get a lot of Quistis's blue magic items from here. You can also get items for refining your weapons. So that's also very nice. But what I would recommend, and this is of course my opinion, but I like to keep my high level cards, because if you want to keep on getting high level cards, you're going to want to have high level cards in order to get those cards. So long story short, I like to keep my level 8 and up cards, and the cards that you see there that are kind of grayed out, you have to get multiples of certain cards to mod them. So in case of the fishes, the level 1 fish card, you need 5 of them. So you need that in order to card mod those away from your inventory. And also, I like to get rid of some of my lower level cards, because there's a rule later on that's called random, where, as the name implies, the game automatically selects those cards for you. So I've already went there and given Quistis her magic, her blue magic, and I already got my energy crystals from Refino's Eleanor cards. And with the thunder magic and the ice magic, you can actually refine pretty powerful magic for this point in the game. Windmills refine into 20 tornadoes, and tornado is a very powerful spell for this point in the game at the low level I am. And north winds refine into 20 blazagas. That's the high tier blizzard spells. As you see there, we're getting a lot of high tier spells very early on in the game. And you don't have to do this. If you want to keep the game a challenge, you don't have to do it, but why not do it? Why not do it is my motto. If the game allows you, absolutely break the game. Break the game in half, and then break in the quarters, and just keep breaking it. That's my motto anyways. You don't have to do that. But Renoa, I'm going to junction the, I was going to say the Espers, the Guardian Forces that boost magic. And anytime I get Siren's ability for magic up, I'm going to up Renoa's magic if I remember to do it, because she's going to be my spellcaster, Squall's going to be my secondary spellcaster, Zell's going to be my physical attacker once we get Ifrit's strength up. So they're going to be super strong in their specific things I want them to do. And I'm just checking here to make sure that I have any spells that I can upgrade my stats with, since I spent some time drawing from Gennaro, or Jero, I keep forgetting that boss's name. But just checking over my Guardian Forces one more time. But with that, I'm going to save my game. I'm going to tell Watts that we're ready to leave, and that'll be the end of this part, folks. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you like the series, give it a like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.